Hello, Collateral Gaming listeners. Chazzle Dazzle here from the Trial by Error Variety Show podcast. I just wanted to take a few seconds to invite you guys over to what we do. No, it's not video games, but we do invite really awesome and unique bands from all over the world. We dig deep into their souls and find really cool stories to tell you, and there's tons of music every week, so subscribe to us wherever you subscribe to your podcast. We look forward to having you.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Zachary Dio.
This is Collateral Gaming.
Welcome back, guys. Appreciate you sticking around with us. We are kind of just circling back around to jump back into The Last of Us. You know, this conversation is something that we've been wanting to have for quite a while. And honestly, what we've dug into so far has kind of got me, on the edge of my seat. This game is fantastic. But what we haven't really touched on is how this game feels to play. And, jumping into the game, obviously, if you've played The Last of Us Part 2, you know exactly how it feels to control Ellie. In The Last of Us Part 1, you were Joel, protecting Ellie and escorting her to the hospital so that they could use her for the cure. And honestly, it feels just as good, if not better in some aspects, using Ellie, or playing as Ellie in this game, because she is a lot more agile. She is, she's very, very nifty and very, swift in everything that she does. So, I'm a fan of using Ellie a little bit more, actually.
Yeah, she had that a little playable segment in the original game, and then there was the Left Behind DLC where you played as Ellie. I remember playing a little bit of that and using her switchblade, and that comes back here. So Ellie plays. I mean, the gameplay is pretty similar to The Last of Us Part 1 as far as just general gameplay. I mean, it's a linear storyline. You are moving from one place to the other. You're not really going back unless a particular chapter has you backtracked through somewhere, which does happen.
Yeah.
Generally, either Ellie or Abby at different points in the story are accompanied by different people, like Dina or Jesse or Lev or Yara. So we do get some of that gameplay that we had in the very first game where Joel was accompanied by Tess or Ellie. And so you have that dynamic of the AI character who's actually generally pretty useful and shouts out, like we said earlier, shouts out other enemies to you. So that's nice. We've still got, the collection of weapons over time. We've got the survival aspect where, there's limited resources available, especially, particularly in the harder difficulties. You really have to manage your resources. We touched on before how this game does encourage you more to play stealthily so you can conserve your resources. And I will say that I feel like this game is a little bit harder than the first one.
Oh yeah, most definitely. The only thing I would say that's relatively easier about this game, and it's only when you're playing as Ellie, is Ellie has her switchblade. And so if you're careful enough, you can take out all of the infected via stealth. You can come up behind them and stab them in the throat. But once you get to the segments where you're playing as Abby, you have to go back to the way you did it in the first game, and you have to craft shivs, dude. And oh my gosh, I love that, but I also hate it because it forces you to play stealthily, yes, but you have to play stealthily in more than just sneaking up behind them and stabbing them in the throat. It adds a level of skill, but just pure skill. If you can find different ways to get through certain areas and take out,
like the hospital as Abby. Oh my god, that was pretty difficult.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my gosh, that whole ascension and descension with Lev, that whole part where you're trying to get to the hospital. Oh my gosh, man, there's just so many infected that you have to get through. It's honestly, that's one of the most, aside from the island where the Seraphites are, that's one of the most well-designed and well-laid-out parts of the game. just because of the different levels, the different amounts of infected that are throughout the whole area. And the way you have to traverse is just absolutely brilliant. There's a lot of spots where you have to watch your balance. There's a lot of spore segments. The spore segments played a lot like they did in the last game, except when you're playing as Joel, you had to use gas mask. Ellie is invincible or immune, and Abby was not. So,
Right.
it's just it's really cool how much variety they had as far as the way the different characters felt when you played them. I personally felt like playing as Ellie, you had to rely more on your gear, and Abby was a lot more brute strength.
Yeah.
Because Abby's
she punches
jacked,
the shit out of those zombies, and it's actually satisfying as fuck when you beat them up with your own bare hands. Like,
mm-hmm. Yeah. And can we talk for a second about Abby and Owen? And okay, so Abby's
that
jacked.
scene.
The scene that will not be named. But I mean, it will be. They totally had hate sex, and it was hilarious. Plus, I mean, Naughty Dog really doesn't hold back with that kind of stuff. I was kind of like, okay, this is all right. Oh,
yeah. And Abby's such like a muscular character that it's really interesting.
Oh my god.
Hey, I'm not
awkward.
saying I wouldn't be attracted to a muscular woman. Okay, I think that there's a way, but. You know what? I'm just gonna shut up here.
That's not bad. It was just unexpected. I was just like, oh, she's hotter than me and more jacked than I am. That's great.
I mean, Abby is fucking awesome. Like,
yeah,
she's jacked. And I respect the hell out of that. You're in a zombie apocalypse and you're hell bent on revenge, and so you spent like the last 5 years literally jacking yourself and getting fucking huger than most of the guys. Like, that is cool. Respect, man.
Pun intended here, because we're talking about the hate sex scene. So if you spend that time getting jacked, then more power to you. But no, it was very interesting to me to see how they, implemented that into the story, because I knew at some point they were going to throw something like that in with Abby and Owen. But no, I loved playing as Abby. She's my favorite character of the entire game. Can't even lie there. Her parts in the game were a lot more satisfying and a lot more fun. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved playing as Ellie. But playing as Abby, you are literally hell-bent on revenge. Both characters are hell-bent on revenge, but playing as Abby, it just feels more brutality and strength-driven, because you are just going to power through everything to get your hands on. Especially when Abby finds out that Owen and, was it Mel?
Yeah, Owen and Mel.
Yeah. Owen and Mel are dead, because... I mean, Ellie had to defend herself.
It's a complicated situation, and then you get to the point where you have to fight Ellie as Abby, and that was kind of hard for me to do, because I like Ellie. And I'm sitting here playing as Abby, and I understand how she feels. I understand her frustration, but I don't want to hurt my. I'm gonna go back and say Ellie is still, I think, my favorite character, but I definitely do feel, I was mad at her when she left the farm and went to Santa Barbara. I was mad at Ellie, like, why are you throwing away your family like that? But obviously, I guess, we said this earlier, she needed to. But yeah, the gameplay as both girls was awesome. There's definitely perks to each. They both play differently. I like what you said about how Ellie, more focuses on gear, and they even have different gear.
Yeah, no, I love crafting and working through skill trees that are different from each character, like similar in some aspects, but each character is very unique. Like Abby's was more focused on like strength and accuracy, while Ellie's was focused on precision and stealth. And I love that, because Abby can be more forward. She's a brute. Like, she's extremely ripped, and Ellie's just like this slender girl that can just fuck shit up.
Ellie throws Molotov cocktails, but Abby makes pipe bombs.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think Abby could craft ammunition as well, which was something that Ellie couldn't do, besides arrows.
Incendiary shells, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the incendiary shells.
The incendiary shells were cool as fuck. And then Abby obviously could craft shivs, whereas Ellie did not need to. Both of them could craft silencers. Was that something new to this game? Could you craft silencers in the first game? I can't remember.
Yes, you could, but you couldn't upgrade them to where they could have 5 shots. The max was always 3.
Okay.
I'm really glad that they implemented that because actually, that's the first thing I craft. Unless
Yeah,
I need like
generally.
med packs or something like that.
Well,
I
no,
love
for me it's
silencers.
usually first aid kits because I go through them really quickly. First aid kits are usually first, and then
Well, that's
silencers.
that's what I was generalizing. I was just if I have the first aid kits, the next thing I craft is silencers, just because okay. So I pride myself in my ability to play games like this. I love stealth and I love mastering each and every scene, which
Yeah.
is why sometimes if
You
I do something incorrectly,
you would
if I do
pause
something
and retry and do it stealthily.
exactly,
Same here,
yes,
brother.
and I would try to do it with using the least amount of gear possible.
Yeah.
It's like there's one part at the very end of the game where Ellie goes back to Santa Barbara and she encounters this group called the Rattlers. Which, by the way, shout out to Logic because he's in this game and he okay.
Is
Do
he?
you? Yeah, you know the very end of the game where she gets caught in that trap and then she swings into the tree and gets stabbed into the side.
Right.
And those two guys come up and like, whoa, we got a live one. And the other guy's like, damn, this bitch is fucked up. That's Logic.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. It blew my mind. And I was watching it with my friend Avery yesterday, and he saw that. He's like, "Wait, is that?" I was like, "Yes, it is." It's really awesome, and I had to look it up just to confirm it. But that's him. He's there.
The Rattler scene is cool because I got through almost all of it stealth. Like I got into the house on stealth. There's a certain point right at the end though that where I think that stealth just isn't possible. Like there was absolutely no way. Every time I replayed that last segment right before you go through the door and you release the prisoners, I just always ended up alerting people, and so eventually I just was like, "Fuck it," and then eventually I found out I could just run through and kind of ignore them, and I think I did do that, and I think maybe that's what you are supposed to do because you just get so overwhelmed.
They did a really good job with this game as far as maintaining stealth, but they also made it more difficult. You know, they made it more realistic. If you were smart about what you were doing with your gameplay and how you were moving, traversing, enemies could spot you a lot easier. They could actually use auditory senses to locate where you're at. It's like, I think it's over here, or something like that, you know? Enemies were a lot more responsive to your movements and what you were doing as opposed to the previous game, where they kind of, you know, in the first game, they kind of resembled, you know, just dumb henchmen everywhere that weren't paying attention. They're just like on a dime.
Yeah, and
Getting
the
paid.
Seraphites, dude, like
Oh
having
my
to, and they have their
god.
own like whistling system, and trying to decipher what those whistles mean.
Yeah, usually if somebody fires a shot, or if you fire a shot, you're just gonna hear,
Yeah,
and it's just dude, that's terrifying. It is so terrifying. The first time you encounter them, and when you're playing as Abby, and you have to go back to try to find Lev's mother, but you're going with Yara because Lev took off on a boat. Lev just kind of dips and he heads for the island. That
yeah,
whole sequence was terrifying. One, it was really difficult getting onto the island, and once you get to once you get to their tent and you realize that Lev had to defend himself against his mother, it's just
it's
it was
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking. It was very heartbreaking. Like there are so many points in this game where it just made me cry. You know, I had to take a moment and pause it, and I had to like put my hands on the chair, and I just had to take a deep breath, and I was just like,
Yeah,
oh
this game
wow.
do be like that, and even whenever you beat it, you're kind of just there's just kind of this sense of like you're kind of sitting there watching the credits, and you're like, okay, like I just went through that, you know?
This was not a game. This is not a game for the faint of heart. If
No,
you're going in this just to like have fun, now granted, of course, video games are supposed to be fun. Video games are supposed to be a way to like escape reality. But there are also video games that make you think deeper about
yes,
your life, and this game makes you think about what you're doing with the people around you, and the
well,
choices that you make affect those around you, such
yeah,
as Ellie choosing to go to Santa Barbara, losing her family, Abby choosing to go through with the fact that she knows that Joel killed her father, possibly preventing any chance of a cure, and so she murders him brutally in front of Ellie, which causes this whole game to spiral out of control. And so
yeah,
it's kind of a lesson in the butterfly effect, you know, like whatever you do, it has consequences, and seeing it from both perspectives is just incredible. Oh man, you look like you got something you got on the edge of your tongue.
Yeah, I guess I was gonna say what's interesting about The Last of Us and its sequel is that the games they focus on telling a story. And that seems to be the primary component here. And obviously we have a lot of games where making a game is kind of the focus. Usually the focus is more on something that's fun for people to play. Take Zelda for instance. Zelda's always
Mm-hmm.
prioritized gameplay over story. The Last of Us, in a strange move for a video game, almost prioritizes story over gameplay. And that's not to say that the gameplay is lacking at all, but it's just to say that the gameplay is built around the story and it's very compelling. I mean, it feels like you are playing a movie. And that's something we
Yeah.
said in our first review, is this is a movie quality story. And that's something that's relatively new in the gaming industry, right? So I I like that not only are they telling a movie quality story, but they're telling a hard story. I mean, it makes sense that the Last of Us series that they're developing is going to be on HBO. This is a very, gritty, dark, adult tale. It's mature. And it's like we said before, the game is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. So I really got to hand it to Naughty Dog. And I guess that's why this game gets so much criticism, because we hear criticism like, for instance, Mass Effect 3. People didn't like that game because of the story. And I'm kind of like, well, there's more going on there than just the story. You're going to hate a whole game just because of an ending, right? But The Last of Us, it makes kind of sense because that's what they're doing is crafting a story. And so people that don't like the story they're going to hate the game. So I understand why. I don't the criticisms, again, like we said before, don't make sense to me. I feel like I've not yet to hear an actual good argument for someone who says that the story was written badly.
Exactly. Like my first thought is, hey, write a better one yourself. Because this one
Yeah.
perfectly ties into the end of the first game. The end of this game leaves you with the same peaceful sense of dread. That's the best way I can describe it because you're safe, you're alive, the game's over, and you made it home, but what did it cost? You
Yeah.
know? Like Joel essentially gave his life for Ellie's. He went in there and saved. He went in there and saved Ellie, eventually giving up his own life for it because Abby would one day come back and take his. Because it's oh my god, dude, I'm still stuck on. We've talked about this a little bit in the last part of this, but just Tommy. Tommy is a sniping god. Like
Yes.
that joke was so crazy when you're running through the I guess it's like a mall or like a store area and you're running through the door and Manny's talking to you and then all of a sudden his head just gets blown out.
Yes.
Bro, I was just oh, it scared me. Like I jumped out of my seat and I had to pause and I was like, no
Well, it's
way,
the same thing that happened to
dude.
Jesse earlier on,
Mm-hmm.
just
Except
characters that are just unceremoniously killed off right there in front of you, and it just happens and you move on.
yeah, honestly, Jesse's was not nearly as gruesome as Manny's though. Manny's like you saw his head get blown out, and Jesse just got shot because Manny got shot from the back of the head,
Yeah.
and Jesse got shot in the forehead, and so we didn't see what was going on in the back. We just saw him die,
True.
and Ellie's just Jesse.
Do you like that moment when Ellie hunts down Nora? That was crazy.
dude.
She was brutal. Like, she did not give a fuck. She was like, and I guess she got the information out of her somehow.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you're beating somebody senseless with a metal pipe as they're choking to death on spores, there's really not much you can do except, kind of feed that information for a quicker death. That moment was just crazy because Nora was looking up at Ellie like wheezing, and she's like, "Wait a minute, you're breathing spores. You're her." And I was just, I'm her. I'm like standing there with a pipe. I'm like, yes, I am. You ready to die?
You realize in that moment what lengths Ellie was willing to go through to get her revenge, And you see her you see her get consumed by it. And at first, Dina's supportive and is like, yeah, like if if that happened to me, I would be in the exact same position as you. I would want revenge. And then throughout the story, you see where Ellie starts to prioritize that above everything else, leaving Dina there by herself and going after Abby instead of rescuing Tommy. And then, finally by the end, leaving her family behind, leaving Dina and JJ and their life behind, knowing full well that they may not be there when she gets back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just the choices we make, the sacrifices.
Right.
Okay, I do want to do a little quick shout out for a very special thing in this game that really just captured my heart. And I think you might know what I'm talking about because I'm a huge music nerd.
Okay.
And so I really liked where they were holed up for most of the game. The theater was a really, really awesome location.
Yeah.
And the first time you go into the theater, Ellie walks to the back of the stage and she finds a guitar. And Ellie plays guitar because Joel taught her. And there's a very, very, very special scene that I hold very dear in my heart where she literally performs all of Take On Me.
Yeah.
In front of Dina. And that scene's so beautiful.
I think that was before the theater, but I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, it was before the theater. But the reason I am talking about the theater is because you can literally go in there and pick up the guitar and use the pad on the PlayStation 4 controller to strum the different chords on the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
And you can literally sit there for hours and just play the guitar, practicing.
I've seen some compilations and things. I've seen make videos on YouTube.
I really need to dig
cool songs.
Are they like people they're actually playing songs?
Yeah, I've seen people take songs and play them on the guitar in The Last of Us. Kind of like how people would do that with the Ocarina and Ocarina of Time.
Oh, dude, I actually had an Ocarina of Time for a long time. I actually went on Amazon and I bought a legitimate Ocarina of Time that was made of glass and everything.
Oh, badass, dude! I've had a couple ocarinas, but I never had an actual sweet potato ocarina. I always had the little small 4-hole ones.
That's what he said. Sorry, that's terrible. Oh man. So okay, now I guess I can kind of ask you some questions here, Ash. They're kind of popping in my head. If you had to choose one specific infected encounter throughout the game, what would it be and why?
Infected encounter? I would say the Rat King segment was really cool. Just seeing this gargantuan thing,
I can't lie, man. Yes, that part was hard. I actually died several times going through that, and it was rough. That fight was difficult because I think I was on the difficulty right below grounded. Okay. Well, it was like Survivor or something like that.
I stayed on the regular, the normal medium difficult.
Dude, I allowed
my second playthrough.
Yeah, I allowed my heart to be brutalized by that game, and I loved every second of it. But I can't even lie, man. For anyone who's seen World War Z, you guys know the zombies in that movie are crazy and they run, and they're basically like rabid humans in that movie. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
But dude, the beginning of this game.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
With Abby. Oh my God! This is when she meets Joel for the first time. She runs into a horde.
Yeah, that was
on
insane.
A snowy. That was so hard. She is sprinting for her life while all of these infected are just chasing her. It was, dude. I was legitimately scared for my life playing this part of this video game, and I was just, I died a couple of times just because I didn't know where to go. They made it really difficult for you to find out, and so if you did it successfully on the first try, I applaud you because I did not.
I think I died once.
There's one part where you're crawling through the fence right before Joel takes your hand and pulls you out, where you're just walking through the fence. You kind of fit yourself in between the fence, and then the walker or the infected start pushing up on the fence, and you have to get lower and lower and lower until you're on the ground crawling prone. And just when you think they're about to get you, because they're literally right there, Joel pulls them out Joel pulls you out, saves your life, and starts killing infected. And then for Abby to turn around, in that moment when Abby killed Joel, he saved your life. I get it, he killed your dad, but he killed your dad saving Ellie. He didn't kill your dad. Okay, maybe I am more pro Ellie. Gosh. Oh man.
I fell in love with the characters in the first game, and despite all his flaws, I love Joel as a person. And I love the relationship that he has with Ellie, and I love Ellie as a person. She's just so full of spunk, and so seeing your beloved characters have to go through I think at first you kind of are supposed to hate Abby because you
Yeah.
realize, and the game doesn't tell you right away that she that that her dad was killed. But I think it leaves that ambiguous for at least a good half of it.
No,
Um,
you literally don't really know much of what's going on or why she's doing this.
I happen to have known because I had heard a few things about this game prior to it coming out. I already knew about Joel's death, and I already knew who Abby was and why she killed him. So that was kind of spoiled for me. But I tried to approach the story from a new perspective of, understanding these events. And like you, even though I knew why it happened, I was like, yeah, he saved your life. Obviously, this is a good person. But when they went back and they gave you more context and they showed the kind of person that her dad was, and not only that, but understanding that she was fully aware of why Joel did what he did,
Yeah.
then I understood a little bit better.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And honestly, Jerry was a cool dude. Like I liked the segment where you're walking through the wilderness with your dad and you come across this zebra. A
The
zebra
zebra, yeah.
that is literally caught in barbed wire and you have to like cut it loose, and it just shows you how warm-hearted and kind this man was. And so I can understand Abby's anger. I can understand her desire for revenge, but man, she really brutalized the hell out of it. A golf club and slow torture after shooting the man in the knee with a shotgun. It was just, that whole scene was rough, man. I was in tears, man.
Yeah, me
I
too.
I don't cry much for video games. I've cried at the sheer beauty of God of War. May's death in the in Spider-Man PS4. That I wept like a baby. And this part, honestly, this game made me cry several times though, just because of the level of depth that they went to in this game. Like Mel died before she got the chance to have her baby, and Owen's death was really sad because of the connection that you see between him and Abby.
Right.
Gosh, dude.
I
You
know.
get kind of sad just thinking about it, man.
It is sad. It really tugs on your heartstrings quite a bit. I think the game did an excellent job demonstrating multiple perspectives to you. Neil Druckmann is a genius.
Absolutely. I could not agree.
Team at Naughty
anymore.
Dog really poured their hearts into this.
Yeah, and yes, man, I'm telling you, this game is a masterpiece. I don't care what anybody says as far as them not liking the story. If you don't like the story, you just don't get it. I'm sorry. You don't get the overall preface of this game and what they're trying to do. It's not supposed to be this happy ending. This, oh, yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, because nothing is going to be wonderful in a post-apocalyptic situation. Nothing, well, apocalyptic, because I don't think they're post anything. Everybody's still suffering.
Right.
Everybody's still dying and becoming infected, but there's really no way for there to be a happy ending on this, because at the end of the day, people are still dying. People are still infected. Civilization as we know it is gone. It's done. Now, granted, there are places like Jackson that are thriving and flourishing and just alive, and they work together and they have good times, but it's still behind walls. They can't go out and enjoy the beauty that is this world because it's been tainted by sorry. It's been tainted by the infected, and that's not something they're ever going to be able to really get through because there are billions of people in this world. And I guarantee you at least like 1 or 2 billion of those people got infected, and there are stages. Also, I really like how they expanded upon the different stages of infection in this game. Like when you're in Seattle. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
When you're in Seattle, looking for gas for the generators, you find a piece of paper in one of those little outposts that like shows a doctor's perspective on the different stages of the infected. And I sat there reading all of that stuff. I was genuinely curious. I was like, this is really cool. Holy crap, this is also very disturbing. If I see one of these, I'm going to cry because I'm going to have to kill it.
Yeah. There's some evidence, I think, that they were saying that the stage 1 of infected, the runners, do have some semblance of their humanity left and are just not in control of their actions. But like they may be to some extent aware. And that's heartbreaking if you really think about it.
because they're like a rabid animal that can't control their impulses, but they have to watch it all happen from behind their eyes.
Can you imagine like having to kill your own family and still being aware of that?
But you can't control it, dude. No, I wouldn't know what I would do, you know, because I'm literally the last pieces of me that are existing are deteriorating, and I'm watching my life fall apart because of me, you know. But I can't do anything about it because I'm trapped inside of myself. It's a very, very deep thoughts with Ashley Chancellor. Thanks. Gosh, now I'm just kind of, you know, in it. Wow.
I know you wish things were different. I wish things were different. Ellie! But they ain't.
Please stop! I'm leaving tomorrow.
To do this smart, we'd be leaving Jackson vulnerable.
So they just get away with this?
How'd you find us?
You can't stop this.
I want what you want. But not at any cost. I really hope you make it.
I have to finish it.
There's a cost.
We could have killed you. Maybe you should have.
I love all the lore in this game. Like the first game, there are a lot of collectibles and documents to gather, and so you can really, like you said, you can look in the past and see relics of a pre-infected world or of the world right at the onslaught of it or onset of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like how Abby collects coins.
Abby
That
collects
that
coins.
was one.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts. Was, you know, looking for coins as Abby. I think I found all but 2. And when I start, I was gonna actually start another playthrough here soon because I missed that game. I enjoyed it, and it was intense. Like, it was beautifully made. The graphics are incredible. Oh my god.
They look
Especially-
really, really nice on the PS4, and they are nearly photorealistic. I mean, it is insane. And I thought
Yeah,
the
man.
first game looked good, and that was on PS3.
You know what's crazy? The PS5 is definitely going to have The Last of Us Part 3 because you know they're going to make a third installment.
Right.
They've got to. There are so many open ends that could be created. Like, we know that Abby and Lev made it to the where were they going for the Firefly outpost?
They're going to Catalina Island.
Catalina, yeah, and you know that once you beat the game, the sunrise over the coast, it kind of gives you like a sense that they made it, you know, instead of the rain and the boat and just the sadness. The opening scene once you beat the game, on the start menu, is just this beautiful sunrise on an island, and it just kind of gives you the sense of hope that they made it to the island. Because Abby was messed up at the end of that game, man.
Yeah, she was. She was quite a bit weaker. She was literally in her weakest state.
Mm-hmm. And still that fight was amazing.
So
Like,
like
she was forced to fight.
how big
Oh.
and like jacked that she got was all erased. Like she was reduced to an average, like not even average, like a frail, weak person,
Hmm.
and that was sad.
It was, and that I think that's another reason why a lot of people hated the ending, because one, a lot of people probably wanted to see Abby killed for what she did just because they loved Joel, or two, they wanted to see Abby persevere, and Abby was like this very very strong representation for women, and that was kind of taken away from her at the very end of the game. They had her tied up on a stake, bleeding, dying. They cut her hair. That broke my heart, dude. Her hair was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I loved her hair, and they just completely tore it out and cut it. But still, she gave Ellie the fight of her life, and bit off fingers too. That was gruesome, man.
And Ellie can't play guitar anymore now. Crazy,
Yep.
dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she leaves it behind. I mean, God, this game just grips you in so many ways. And
Mm-hmm.
for people to have gone through that experience and be like, yeah, I just did it, really bewildering to me, because whether you like the events that happen or not, you're not supposed to like them. You're pulled in several directions emotionally. That's effective. If a story really got you to do that, then it succeeded.
Yeah.
If you felt angry about Joel's death, it succeeded. If you felt uncomfortable playing as Joel's killer, it succeeded. If you felt confused at the end, not sure who you wanted to win, or you kind of empathized with both of them and just wanted them to come to some sort of conclusion that where they both felt satisfied, it succeeded.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's what they're going to do with the third game. I think at some point these two are going to meet up again, and it's going to create an even more epic climax to the end of the Fireflies, or the start of something new. High School Musical.
I was just thinking about that right before you said that. The start of something new.
It feels so right to be here with you.
You know what's funny? I watched those 3 movies with my wife recently. I never had really watched them growing up whenever they were popular and everyone else had watched them. So I watched them with my wife, and I actually didn't think the movies were bad. I kind of enjoyed them. I mean, I watched the first one with her because it was a part of her childhood, and I was like,
dude, High School Musical's awesome,
do you want to watch the second one? And she was like, okay. I was like, let's just watch the third one and cap it off. Okay. We just
You want to
watched
hear
through all
something
of them.
crazy? You want to hear something crazy?
Huh.
I've never seen High School Musical 3 senior year.
Oh, you haven't?
I've seen the first 2 literally countless times. They are amazing, but I've never seen the third one.
I think the first one is the best, but the production value, I
good.
think, really shot up with the third one.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. The second one was my favorite.
Yeah.
Probably just because it took place on a country club, and it was awesome. And for the longest time, I loved Bet on It. Zac Efron's like angry solo on the golf course. I'm not gonna stop that. Who I am.
It's kind of an empowering moment, yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, those movies are great. I just love that little. You want to jump on this here segue with me? We can kind of go back. We just totally went on a High School Musical segue. I love it. Oh man,
I love it.
That's
That's
what
we're
The
about.
Last of Us.
The Last of Us. All right. Well, what about, let's say, like the development history? I mean, we know the game was developed by Naughty Dog, masters of their craft. The geniuses behind the Uncharted series, which is still in development. I mean, still ongoing, and Neil Druckmann was behind that, or at least Uncharted 4. And also the Crash Bandicoot series. So they've really tried a lot of different things. Do you see any similarities?
Okay, so as far as similarities between Uncharted and The Last of Us, aside from the camera and the way playing the character feels, honestly, they're 2 completely different series.
They
and
are.
It's amazing how versatile Naughty Dog is with their ability to create such beautiful content. You know, I never really got into the Uncharted series, but I loved Nathan Drake as a character. I thought that he was brilliant. He's kind of like a very, very quippy young Indiana Jones almost. and I like that. Crash Bandicoot I played all the time as a kid. Literally nothing like these games at all.
At all.
I guess you're a little Bandicoot. If those do those even exist? Are there Bandicoots in the world? Do they exist, or is that?
I think so.
Let's
I'll have
go.
to look it up. I would
Bandicoot.
say on the Uncharted front, both games are Bandicoots do in fact exist. There you go.
Bandicoots are a group of more than 20 species of small to medium-sized terrestrial marsupial omnivores in the or Paramelomorphia. So it's not an actual creature, it's a marsupial endemic. So it's basically a group of a bunch of different marsupials.
That makes sense.
That's awesome. So you're just like an amalgamation of all these different little weasels and things.
Did you like the little Easter eggs? I think there's 2 PS3 consoles in this game. One in Ellie's apartment, which I didn't notice the first time, and one in the area that Eugene makes his home. And they both have the same games, actually. I think Uncharted.
Oh yeah, okay.
It was Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 1. I saw on there, and I think a Crash Bandicoot game, right?
Yeah, I tried tinkering around with the PS3 in Eugene's place, but I couldn't do anything with it. That would have been really cool if you were able to turn it on.
I did zoom in with the photo mode and, looked at Ellie's collection, I remember. Let's see. Man. I sent it to you. Yeah, there's you
sent it to me?
I did. I sent you a photo of, actually, no, I sent you a photo, I'm looking at it now, of an anime that was in Ellie's collection that looks just like Bleach. It's called Brave Limit, and I swear the character in the front looks just like Ichigo. He's got the orange spiky hair, and he's got the Shihakusho or whatever it's called, the Shinigami robes.
I really like when they go into detail with this kind of stuff in games like this, because honestly, playing those parts made me wish I could, explore all of it and read it. What if Naughty Dog went the extra mile and made it to where you could from The Last of Us 2, go into Ellie's PS3 and play The Last of Us 1. That'd be wild.
Well, in Uncharted 4, you could play Crash Bandicoot, so...
Wait, really?
Yeah, at the very end of Uncharted 4, when you play as, spoiler warning, Nathan Drake's daughter, Cassie, I think her name is. And that's interesting, because that's the name of Johnny Cage's daughter, too. Anyway, you can play... in her room, she plays Crash Bandicoot.
Dude, that's amazing. Oh my god. Speaking of Nathan Drake, there's an Uncharted movie coming out.
Yes, with Tom Holland, and I am stoked.
It's gonna be cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I would have been happier if they did Nathan Fillion, because he is perfect for the role. But
yes, Daddy likes.
I think that they're not. Daddy, have you seen that little fan film that he did?
No, I have not.
Nathan Fillion has played Nathan Drake, and he's expressed support like he wanted to do it. And there's a whole YouTube video, and it's a fan film of him, and he actually does it perfectly. But what I'm going to say is that I understand why they didn't do that, because he's a perfect Uncharted 4 age Nathan Drake. He's a perfect older Drake. What they're going for is actually a prequel that exists in the same universe. Right? So, and as soon as they said it was going to they were casting Tom Holland, I knew that that's what they were going for. They're going for something that's in between the Uncharted 3 flashback and Uncharted 1, and it's a young Nathan Drake. And so, like the Assassin's Creed movie, it just simply takes place in the same universe.
Yeah.
And that it's not an adaptation. So I actually like that. I think that that's a better route to go. And I think I heard that the Last of Us series that they're doing is going to be the same. They're going to do the same thing. But I could be wrong.
With a younger Joel, and I when is that coming out? Because I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, let me see. It's coming out on HBO. It says 2021, and Neil Druckmann is involved, I think. Yeah.
Oh man, that means it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually saying it could be an adaptation of the first game. Joel and Ellie, a pair connected through the harshness of the world they live in, are forced to endure brutal circumstances and ruthless killers on a trek across post-pandemic America. That sounds like the plot of the first game, but it could also totally be an in between the first game and the second game.
Okay, I will say this now, since we are talking about this on the podcast. Ash, they need to stay away from a Walking Dead vibe.
Yes.
I know it's going to be a lot more. I know it's going to be a lot different because if they do it like the actual game, think about it. I mean, come on. The infected do not need to be slow. They don't need to be. I mean, yes, the infected are ugly, like obviously, but they need to. Okay, all right. I know. I saw your face. Let me explain this a little bit. Because you looked kind of confused when I said that. Obviously, the infected are going to be like dead looking. They're going to be grotesque. But the way they do it in The Walking Dead almost seems like very, very, very makeup heavy.
Yeah.
And in The Last of Us, it looks very real. Now, I get it. This is Naughty Dog's interpretation of what a post-apocalyptic infected person would look like. But they need to stay true to that, and they need to keep it. They need to show all of the different variants of these infecteds in the show. They need to go tit for tat with the game, because if they don't, a lot of people are going to be unhappy. You know, they need to make clear and direct references to the game. There needs to be little Easter eggs that you can spot that stay true to the game. They need to have casting and characters that resemble Troy Baker.
And Hugh Jackman needs to be Joel. I'm just putting it out there. It needs to be Hugh Jackman.
And honestly, you know, if they were doing this a few years ago, Elliot Page would have been perfect to play Ellie in this. Like, oh my gosh, man. Oh. Dude, Hugh Jackman as Joel, that gave me tingles, dude. That gave me tingles. Oh.
Isn't that perfect?
Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, that would be perfect.
But
he's Australian, mate.
Evidently, yeah, Neil Druckmann is involved, so we know that they're gonna replicate the feel of the game, and they're gonna make sure that it maintains continuity with that, and or maintains the same feels, right? The same. It's gonna feel the same. It's gonna be the same universe. But also involved in it is Craig Mazin, who was behind the HBO series Chernobyl. He's involved in this.
Beautiful series.
Let's see. The Gustavo Santaolalla would be returning to write the music. So somebody who is the person who was writing the music for the games already.
I know y'all can't see my face, but my jaw dropped right there. Because I'm a huge music nerd, and as I said at the beginning of part 1 of this podcast, the music is incredible. That opening guitar, dude, I was hooked from the very start of this game. Like, it was beautiful. And if they're bringing back the same guy that did the music, I am going to be one happy little camper.
The music is good. It's really, really good.
Yes, it is. It's so good.
Also, apparently there was a film adaptation planned. It had just been in development hell for 6 years, and so that's why they're doing a series now. And I feel like a series will do it justice. We're entering a new world where we're finding out with shows like Game of Thrones that you can have. I know, but take a step back, and regardless of how you feel about the way that it ended, they did a hell of a job with creating a series that felt movie quality. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for seeing TV shows now that are movie quality, and that's new.
Like The Witcher.
That's a good video game adaptation, or so I've heard. Yes. I haven't actually seen it yet.
Oh, brother, you gotta watch it, dude. Oh, Henry Cavill is amazing. He's good. Oh my gosh, that dude. Oh yeah, you need to watch it. I'm having a nerd.
Henry Cavill can kind of redeem himself since Batman versus Superman and the entire DCEU sucked.
Okay, I will say this. Yes, you are right, but Man of Steel was awesome.
I actually liked Man of Steel, and I like Henry Cavill as Superman, and I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I just don't like the way that they were written.
See, I was following you a little bit until you said you liked Ben Affleck as Batman.
He's okay.
I
loved
his Batman, but I did not like his Bruce Wayne. His Bruce Wayne was terrible.
Yeah.
But The scene in Batman vs Superman where he infiltrates the warehouse to save Martha. That is amazing. That is a very Arkham. That is a very Arkham style fight, where he just uses all his gadgets and whatnot to take all those guys out. But I don't want to hear people saying that Batman doesn't kill people, because Bruce Wayne took out some guys in that whole thing, dude. There's no way some of those guys lived through that. No way. There's no way.
Batman doesn't kill people though. That's why Batman vs Superman sucked. Batman's not supposed to kill people.
Yeah.
I know there are some comics where he did before the no-kill rule was established, but for nearly the entirety of Batman's history in comic book and television and film mediums, the no-kill rule is extremely important. Well, I say in film, but the original Batman films, starting with the Tim Burtons, as great as they were, completely ignored that.
Yeah.
But it is. I think it's central to his character, and so it's weird when that rule is ignored. When I get it with other characters, like I could see like Superman killing. I'm actually okay with that. I don't feel like it's as central to Superman's character. In fact, to me, it's unrealistic. Superman's is like a god. There's no way he wouldn't kill people. Like,
dude, he
if
could
not on
literally
accident.
thump somebody. Yeah, he would literally thump somebody and they'd go flying across the... Yeah.
I'm okay with the head snap in Man of Steel. I'm not okay with Batman killing because that's just part of his character, right? Like, Batman doesn't kill because he can't be the same as the Joker. He can't be the same as the person that killed his parents. And we're going off on another tangent here, but
that's okay, dude. That's the beauty of these things, because it all relates back to our love of The Last of Us. But talking about Superman's head snap, I mean, he had no choice. Like, Zod was literally using his powers to almost kill an entire family, and it was either Clark takes him out, snaps his neck, or that family dies. And I'm sure he made the choice in his head: one life for 3. It's a classic trolley problem. Do you take one life to save 3?
The trolley problem. You've been watching Your Good Place.
Oh man, dude, that show is brilliantly done. Oh my god, the trolley problem made me laugh so hard. And I will say, Ted Danson is a phenomenal Good Place architect. He's a great Good Place architect, and I will watch that movie for the rest of Jeremy Bearimy to come. Or movie, that show. Oh my gosh. But Ash, is it just me, or are we in the good place?
I think we're in the bad place, bro. Have you seen 2020? This is the bad place. Oh my forking... What was it? Oh
shirt
my
balls,
mother forking shirt balls. This is the bad place.
Jason figured it out?
Yes, that's...
Oh, this is a real low point.
This is a real low point.
Did you finish season 4?
I haven't yet. I haven't finished season 4 yet. I actually just started rewatching season 1 again. But
God, it's so good, man.
I'm watching other things at the same time. I'm actually watching the Clone Wars now. Since the Mandalorian is awesome and there's some backstory, and I have a lot of faith in Dave Filoni. Now I've started watching the Clone Wars. That's what I've been watching. I've been rewatching BoJack Horseman. I've been rewatching Archer. Got a lot of shit going on.
Honestly, Archer, I hated Archer when I first started watching it. And the only episode I watched when I decided that I didn't like it was the episode where he thinks that he accidentally poisons the hooker, and so he throws her in the back of the car.
Oh my
turns
god,
out she's alive. Yeah, and then another, and then I started watching it again. That show is spectacular. I love it. I think he goes down to Miami, and he like goes undercover as a gay man.
Yes, and he tries so hard.
He's got that blonde hair and the lollipop and the roller skates.
Phrasing.
That was absolutely perfect. Well, yeah, we did just kind of go off on a whole tangent there.
Well,
shout out to Geometry.
Shout out. I guess let's kind of get into our final thoughts then.
All right. Yeah, I'm down. For me, this game is a 9.8 out of 10.
Okay.
Damn near perfect. There are some things that I thought would be really cool And honestly, it's kind of the same reason I give Spider-Man PS4 a 9.8 out of 10. And I'll explain. The only thing I wanted to see different in Spider-Man PS4 was more finishers. I wanted to see more variety in the way you could take out criminals.
Oh,
And
I would
here-
hate having you as a teacher. You'd be that teacher that doesn't give 100 because there's no such thing as a perfect.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I would
I'm
definitely,
fucking
if
with
my
you.
kids put in honest effort and all of it was correct, I'm not just going to be that guy. Oh, you could have done so much better. No, I'm going to. If they deserve a perfect score, I'm going to give them a perfect score. But I truly believe that there's no such thing as a perfect game until the day where we can put on a headset and actually be in the video game ourselves. Like much like VR, except we use our whole body to control it instead of just wearing a headset and controlling it. But I wanted there to be more interaction between Ellie and Abby and the infected. I wanted to have more creative ways to take them out instead of just your typical grab them from behind, shove them in the throat, or you have to shoot them. But the story, perfect, absolutely perfect. There's just
Like insert the Pacha theme from Emperor's New Groove, right?
Oh yeah, insert Salt Bay. Just
Or Sully from Monsters Inc. I think both of those are basically the same meme.
Yep. Graphics, absolutely perfect. I got to experience this game on the PlayStation 4 Pro. And shout out to Ash for allowing me to download the game and truly experience it in all its beauty. I wasn't confused playing this game, really. I thoroughly enjoyed the way it flowed, the way the characters interacted with each other, the way it constantly had me on the edge of my seat, and the way it got me attached to almost every character in a different way. There wasn't a single character that I truly didn't like that wasn't like a main focus at some part in the story. Like I loved Jesse, I loved Dina, I loved Abby, Lev, Yara, Joel, of course, everybody loves Joel, Ellie, and Tommy too. I loved Tommy up until the very, very end. And like Tommy was honestly one of my favorite characters. And honestly, playing as Abby, running with Lev, trying to avoid all of his shots, that's one of the most intense parts of the game.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a Seraphite. That was just a really good shot. But then you realize that it's Tommy, and when he takes out Manny, that whole sequence blew my mind. But I give this game a 9.8 out of 10. We'll definitely go through it again very, very soon. And honestly, Ash, I think we need to do a Let's Play on it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be in the works. So we need to do a Let's Play on the first game first. That's a must. So I absolutely love The Last of Us Part 2. I think it is a damn near flawless game. I really don't have a lot of criticism for it whatsoever. I can definitely tell that Naughty Dog used their time well in developing this game. I mean, it's been a long time since the first game came out. It was something like 7 years or something, right? The first game came out in 2013, yeah. So
Did the first game come out in 2013, or was that the remastered? Because it was a launch title with the PS4, right?
The first game came out in 2013. I'm pretty, and then very shortly thereafter, just like how this game was released right at the end of the PS4's life cycle, the Last of Us Part 2 or the Part 1 was. So
Yeah, you
the
think
remaster. I played the remastered version on PS4.
Yeah, same. I never played it for PS3. Do you think they'll remaster Part 2 for the PS5?
Oh, definitely. I was just about to say that. There's almost certainly will. There's no way they won't.
Yeah. Which
why?
I'm
It's
getting
an
a PS5
obvious.
in 2.5
It's an obvious way for them to make a little bit of money. I mean, they're obviously going to capitalize on this success and want to put this game on the newer console with better visuals. I'm kind of surprised they haven't. Well, no, I understand why they haven't announced it already because everybody's just bought this game, so they're probably going to wait a little bit before they do a remastered version on the PS5. They will certainly do it. If
They're probably already working on it.
if they're smart, what they could do is just release it as an upgrade. But I don't know if they'll actually do that. A lot of the PS4 games that did come out at the launch of PS5 have upgrades, free or for like $10. So
I feel like I should let you know, Ash. I'm getting my hands on a PS5 in about 2 weeks.
What? No way, dude.
Yeah, man. My friend this morning, I won't give his name on the podcast just to protect him. But he's really good at securing stuff, and he flips them for profit. And this morning, he got a call from Walmart saying, "Hey, you're next up on the list, and we've got one in stock." So he went to go get it, and he sent a picture of it to me. He's like, "Dude, don't be mad at me, but look what I got." And he
Holy
sent me a
shit.
picture of a PlayStation 5, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" He was like, "Are you gonna play it or are you gonna flip it?" He's like, "Bro, you already know the answer to that." I was like, "You're gonna flip it, aren't you?" He's like, "Yes, but don't be mad because I've got another one coming in about 2.5 weeks, and I want to sell that one to you for retail price. So I'm gonna get a PS5."
Nice.
And I'm very excited. Oh my gosh! And I mean, from what I've seen, everything I've seen, I haven't seen the console. I haven't touched the controller. Everything will literally be brand spanking new for me. So I'm excited for that. I'm sorry, I did not mean to dig into your final thoughts. I just really wanted to
No,
tell you
you're
that on the
good, bro.
podcast.
I'm really excited for you. Damn, I'm trying to get my hands on one, but I haven't.
Just
saved
come
up
out here
enough
and play it
money.
with me.
Honestly,
Just
I'm
come out.
thinking about it. I'm like, let me go hang out.
Yeah, because you know the first thing I'm gonna get is Spider-Man for it, and Cold War. Even though
Cold
Cold
War.
War is terrible,
It's the game
for the record,
it's the new Call of Duties. That's what people are playing.
it's poopy.
So hopefully they'll invest in their fan base and make it better. But anyway, back to final thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2. Damn near flawless game. It's an amazing experience from start to finish. I was hooked, just like the first game. I couldn't stop playing. I kept wanting to do more. The only thing stopping me being more impending games for the podcast that we're doing.
Yes.
That I have to set aside time, and that's the only thing that would hold me from playing this through all over again right away. But I did start a new Game Plus profile, and at some point, we'll definitely do a. Excited about that. It gives us an excuse to get into it. But yeah, no, this game is near perfect for me as well. I mean, if I had to give it a score, it would likely be similar to yours. But I can't really find much to actually criticize about it. I mean, obviously we could always have more of certain things. That's never gonna not be true.
More nudity. Just kidding. I said more nudity, but I was
More
kidding.
nudity. I mean,
just kidding.
I'd be okay with seeing Ellie nude. I mean,
Stop. You're right.
But yeah,
She's
fantastic game start to finish. Absolutely recommend. Obviously not for the faint-hearted. It is a triggering story, so come into it realizing that, but you will be blown away. You will be sucked into this world, and I'm happy I had this experience.
Yeah, man, I owe it to Ash for the experience, and it was a really good time investing about 30 hours of my life into the story, because it's a long game. It's a very long game. Yeah, I definitely recommend this for anybody listening. That if you haven't played it and you've listened to this whole episode, I'm really sorry we kind of spoiled literally everything. But there are a few minor things that we didn't get to talk about. So
well, these episodes are meant to be spoilery. I want people who've played the games to listen and relate, and also people that maybe they just don't care about spoilers and they want to hear about it.
Yeah. Go into the game and enjoy it for yourself. You have to play the first one though. It's an absolute must.
Yeah.
If you've never played The Last of Us Part 1, do not even think about touching this game, because you won't understand what's going on.
It definitely builds off of the first one.
Extremely so.
I like that the subtitle is Part 2. Kind of reminds me
Yep.
of old school, like 80s slasher films.
Oh yeah, man. One quick thing before we wrap it up. I really like what they did with, once you beat the game, you can change the layout of the game. You can change out how it's filtered. Like, you could play it with a noir setting. You could play it in
yeah, I toyed around with that.
Riveting colors. You could play it in 8-bit style. You could play it with 8-bit audio, which is terrible. I don't recommend it. And you can play it with space audio, which that made me laugh because the whole game is just silent. I love the little memes and the puns that they put into this game, and it's very good. But yeah, that's my take on it, man. I really appreciate it. Glad we finally got the chance to dig into this game, because it's been a long time coming.
All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or feedback on your podcast platform of choice. Let your friends know about Collateral Gaming, and stay tuned for upcoming episodes. I am continually working on things like Patreon Let's Plays and video versions of the podcast and other content, so always looking to do more. And always looking for more collabs. So if you want to collab with us, definitely. If you want to guest host, reach out to me. You can find us on all social media channels. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have our podcast hosted on our RSS feed on podbean.com. And we are also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, and Show Lover Radio. Pandora as well. We are looking forward to our anniversary special. We're going to be talking about, drum roll, the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, followed by our holiday special on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I've been playing the hell out of, and it's awesome. We're going to also be releasing some of our bonus rounds. In the meantime, I believe we have another video game recommendations episode in the works, and we are collabing with Collateral Cinema once more for another movie adaptation of a video game, and I'm going to be recording that tonight. So that should be out around the same time that this is out. And that's going to be on Mortal Kombat, the original 1995 movie. And in January, assuming that the 2021 movie is still coming out, we're going to be talking about that.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to that episode. I need to actually watch Mortal Kombat.
I'm watching it right now. I'm actually literally like before you hit me up and said, like, hey, let's go ahead and record right now. I was in the middle of the movie, and I'll finish it up by the time like when we get off of here, and then I'll finish editing this shit and we'll get it out.
All right. Well, heck yeah, man. I need to get on that podcast with you guys at some point because I've been doing this for a little while and I love movies. So, and speaking of movies, guess what I found on the PlayStation Store for $5?
Huh.
The HD version of Spider-Man from 2001.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
It's amazing. It's just as good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's so good, man. Tobey Maguire is spectacular as Peter Parker. Not so much as Spider-Man. I wish he was more quippy, but But it's okay because it's stellar, and I wish that the bodily produced webs were canon, but they're not because that would be cool. It would make him seem more spider-like instead of.
But spiders don't shoot webs out of their wrists.
They shoot them out of their booty. But that would be weird if Peter did that. Could you imagine if they made it canon for Parker to swing from his butt?
Right, that's why he has wrist shooters.
This is true. Okay. All right. Well, on that note, I think that's a good place for us to end this podcast. Ash, do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
No, that's it, man. Well, that being said, I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Zachary Dio.
We are Collateral Gaming. We are out. Collateral Gaming is an L Company production. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.